Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist is the story of a young boy's harsh but exciting adventures in a city of cruel masters, cunning thieves, and rewarding friendships. In his great novel, Dickens exposes the darkness of crime and reveals the ultimate triumph of love. A work of prestigious length, it is no surprise Dickens was paid by the word. A young woman who is about to die in a workhouse leaves a newborn baby with a bully named Bumble, who tags the boy Oliver Twist. In the orphanage, when Oliver was 9 years old, he asks the dining hall master to give him more gruel. When he says, "Please, sir, some more?" Oliver was kicked out to work for an undertaker. He hitches a ride to London, where he bumped into an artful dodger, a young pickpocket, who brings him up to Fagin, the misery master of juvenile delinquents, who steals snuff boxes and hankies. Oliver lives with Fagin and his gang of juvenile pickpockets, unaware of their criminal occupations. Soon, Oliver naively goes out with the artful dodger and Charlie Bates, who steals an old gentleman named Mr. Brownlow and promptly flees. When Mr. Brownlow finds he was robbed, he turns around, sees Oliver running away in fright, and pursues him, thinking he was the thief. Then Oliver gets caught and is rescued by a bookstall holder who saw the dodger commit the crime and clears Oliver, who is by now actually ill, faints in the courtroom. Mr. Brownlow takes care of Oliver and finds out that looks like some lady in a portrait. However, Fagin asks Nancy, who lives with Nasty Bill Sykes and works for Fagin, to bring Oliver back to him. Nancy and Sykes bring Oliver to Fagin. Oliver is forced to go with Sykes and rob a house. Oliver is shot during the robbery and ends up under the care of the people he's supposed to rob, Mrs. Maylie and her adopted young lady, Miss Rose. Then Fagin, with a guy named Monk, who knows where Oliver lives, tracks Oliver down. But Nancy, who overheard them, rushes to warn Miss Rose, who immediately takes Oliver back to Mr. Brownlow. Meanwhile, Fagin tells Sykes that Nancy had informed on him. Believing Nancy to be a traitor, Sykes beats her to death and flees to the countryside. Mr. Brown finds Monks, who just happens to be Oliver's half-brother, and tells Brownlow about his plans to keep all his father's inheritance. But Oliver's mother has a little sister, who just happened to be none other than Rose, and Mr. Brownlow just happened to be Oliver's father's best friend. At the end, Sykes and Fagin get snuffed out, but to Oliver, that means he is related to absolutely everyone, which just happens to be one big coincidence.